The Indian market continues to be under pressure. The sentiment further weakens as Pharma slumps on imposition of tariffs. Tech also falls as Accenture issues weak guidance. Auto stocks, however, they are the bright spot in trade today.
US President Donald Trump announces a 100% tariff on branded and patented drug imports. Tariffs will be applicable unless companies build manufacturing units in the United States. The pharma sector is the top sectoral loser today.
Tech stocks also opened low after the global giant Accenture issues a modest guidance for FY26. Stocks, however, have come off the lows.
Reports suggest that Waaree Energies is being probed by authorities in the United States for evading duties on solar imports. We are also awaiting the company's response to our queries on the same. The stock is lower by 5%.
And Rides wins an $18 million order from South Africa to deliver locomotives. The stock is up 3.5%. Hello and welcome to Chartbusters. We're coming to you live from the CNBC-TV18 News studio. I'm Nigel, with me is Ekta. And the market's in a bit of a flux this morning. The Nifty is lower. We're down close to under 100 points. The Nifty Bank is well under some pressure. The Pharma index is getting knocked back. And Ekta, the breadth of the market as well, not very, very favorable. So that explains why not a great Friday morning for the bulls. But the hope is we do see some kind of a fight back.
Hi, Nigel. Yes, absolutely. It's not a great day for the bulls at all. And for the Pharma index, as you can see, the Pharma index is under pressure this morning. But besides that, we do have the mid caps, which are under pressure as well. So the mid-cap index is currently down around 0.8% with an advanced decline ratio, which is extremely weak on the National Stock Exchange. Just about 600 stocks advancing to around over 2,000 stocks, which are declining. And there's been no sort of respite or improvement as the day's gone on.
Okay, all right, Ekta. Well, let's focus on a debutant then today on the bourses. GK Energy, the stock actually listed at a sharp premium in comparison to its issue price. I think we should get that up for our viewers on the screen. Still holding with a gain of around 13%. To help us out with what's the feeling, what's the way ahead, we've got Mr. Gopal Kabra, the CEO and CMD of the company. Hi, Mr. Gopal. Good morning. Good to see you in. And first of all, congratulations to you, your team, all the efforts that you all have put in with regard to coming year. Now you're a listed company. We'll be talking more often. So congratulations on a positive listing. Let's get to a couple of numbers then. Revenue and EBITDA growth has been spectacular for your company over the last few years. Now, in fact, we'll want to understand a few factors. So let's highlight the top three talking points: revenue and margin sustainability, support from the government schemes, visibility on the order pipeline. Let's get to the revenue and margin outlook, sir. Last year, you did around 1,100 crores with EBITDA margins of around 18%. Now, you're in line with regulations to give us some sort of a guidance. So where is this number headed?
Yeah, so last year number was quite good, and we are expecting ourselves to continue what we can make it up. And due to increase into the volume and increase in the business, we would have some positivity into the numbers.
All right. Could you quantify that? On this base of around 1,100 crores, should you be looking at what? A 30% growth, a 40% growth? If you could give us a brief number on that. And also your margins, they were mid-single digits. Then they were early teens. Now they're nearly late teens. Can you hold on to this 18%?
See, on the number side, I can say that on the 15th August, I'm sitting with the 1,000+ crore rupees order. And on the margin side, definitely we would like to improve, because every organization would like to improve their margins. So we are working and we would be able to get some more better results in this.
Okay. Mr. Kabra, you have indicated that majority of or major amount of your volumes does come in from Maharashtra. Can you just give us a sense in terms of what other states would you now be focusing on in terms of generating revenue?
I would be focusing on the MP, UP and Rajasthan, because these are along with the Maharashtra, these are the state where the marginal landholders or marginal farmers numbers are quite higher side, as well as these are the farmers who need the more pumping solution. And solar is one of the best solution what these people have, and it's a win-win situation for the farmer, for the discom, for the central government, as well as the us. So we would be keep focusing on this 4 to 5 state majorly right now.
So what are the inroads that we can expect and by when?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What are the inroads that we can expect in these other states and by when? What is your timeline in terms of expansion into these other states, and when can we expect it to take place, reflect on your numbers?
We have already expanded, but we go in the step-by-step process. We develop our own team rather than relying on the third-party contractor. So developing own team takes certain time. So this process has been started almost since a year in the MP. And few states like Rajasthan and UP, we have already started last year. So we will be able to see the number in coming financial year.
What about, sir, here that order book was around 1,000 crores. All of that gets executed in this year?
Generally, the 120 days timeline is as per our order instruction what we have.
Okay.
So we have to execute in 120 days from the date of the survey get approved. So when we get the green signal to install, then it's a 120 days only.
Oh, interesting. So this 1,000 crores itself will be executed in the next 120 days. That means that FY26 itself could look quite large. Could you tell us, in the pipeline, what kind of orders have you all bid for, and by when will we know the outcome?
See, the bidding and what are the processes there, we will able to disclose as and will go, because it's a futurist thing. And right now, what are the bidding we have done, we have already received the order. So in coming future, definitely we are expecting PM Kusum 2.0 to begin with it. MNRE, Apex Ministry has already initiated that talk, multiple meeting. And once that will move, then we will have the more things to be placed on your TV channel.
So just wanted to actually narrow down on that. What is the latest with regards to the Kusum scheme? The status in terms of the extension. You had indicated that you had met with the MNRE minister. So give us a sense in terms of where things stand currently.
Just want to correct, I never said met with the minister, sir. I said we met in the MNRE when the meeting was called by the secretary, sir. So it was all the stakeholders, we were present over there. And in that present, we had a discussion about the draft guidelines and everything, which is publicly available. And we are expecting before closing of this PM Kusum 1.0, 2.0 will begin.
Okay, all right. And, the problem with all these schemes is the receivable days, the cash conversion as well. Could you tell us, what are the levels that you are comfortable with in terms of days?
See, currently my receivable cycle you are able to see 120 days, because we have the financial year from 1 April to 31st March. And when we see the last 3 years, if with the same financial numbers as well, so from 285 to 411 to 1,000 plus crore we have reached. But we have improvised on our receivable cycles, receivable days from 135, 140 to 120 days. So as we are growing into the numbers, and we are controlling the receivable cycle and everything. So that's what we are able to bring profit on the table as well.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kabra, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us. So that is the new listing, GK Energy. The stock is up around 12.8% at this point in time. So good listing and good debut which has come in from this particular company. We'll take a short break, but we'll get you a lot more on the markets, lot more stocks on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Definitely under pressure at this time for the markets. So do watch out for the Nifty, which is currently just about at around 24,790. Good time then to get in a technical check. We have Shivangi Sarda of Motilal Oswal joining in to discuss what she's strategizing at the end of the week. Shivangi, hi. Welcome to the show. Well, for the Nifty, 100 points lower. Mid-cap index is down around 400 odd points at this point. What's your sense?
Very good morning, Ekta and Nigel. Thank you for having me. So we've seen that the indices have been facing some sort of a pressure from the last 6 trading sessions, and we've seen lower top, lower bottom here on the index. Of course, the put-call ratio has also sunk, and it's near 0.5 levels, which indicates that put writers have actually, unwinded a lot of positions, and call writers are shifting lower, which indicates pressure is likely to remain. We've broken an important support level as well, so pressure is likely to continue, and this will, of course, affect certain pockets of the market. As per levels, we're looking at 24,500 on the downside for Nifty, with a resistance around 25,000 psychological level. This is the take on Nifty. Now, talking about Bank Nifty, there is slight bit of outperformance seen here as compared to the broader market because it hasn't seen such a fall as compared to Nifty. We've seen that this index has also been making lower top, lower bottom in the last 6 sessions, and it has managed to hold above 54,500. So this level would be an important, crucial level to watch out as a make or break zone here for Bank Nifty. So 54,500, and on the upside, resistance is intact at 55,000 levels.
Okay, got it. All right. What about individual stocks? What are you looking at?
So individual stocks, Nigel, the first up on my radar is from a metal pack, which is JSW Steel. We've seen good amount of open interest addition here from the last 3 weeks, and we've seen consistent buying here. It has been trading in an upward sloping channel, and on a month-on-month basis, it has come out of a consolidative band of the last 12 months. So, of course, there's momentum which is likely to continue. Here in this month itself, the stock is up by around 13%, and we've seen good momentum continue. Rollovers have been quite positive for the next week. Of course, we're entering into the monthly expiry week, so a lot of momentum and action expected here as well. So recommending a buy here in this one with a next target of around 1210 levels with a support of 1130 levels. And the second pick on my radar would be HAL. The defense pack has obviously been under a lot of action in the last 2 weeks, and HAL has rebounds from the 4,700 price band, and we've seen RSI has turned positive with a good amount of volumes added in the last 2 trading sessions despite the market volatility. So this one's on radar, and definitely a buy from here with the next target of around 5,000 levels and a support of 4685 levels.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Shivangi. And one of the stocks you spotted was JSW Steel, and it appears, things are actually swinging in their favor. The COC arguments on EBITDA recovery are to be rejected. So, that's something that's come favorable in their favor. EBITDA distribution is not part of the RFRP resolution plan. And, Supreme Court, basically it appears that things are actually now in their favor, of JSW Steel. So, yes, I think we should get that up for you on the screen. Yes, the Supreme Court has overturned its own judgment. It clears JSW Steel resolution plan, and that's the reason why we are seeing the big spike up out there. So it's come in JSW Steel's favor. Earlier, in fact, the judgment was against them, and now there is, a good uptake that we're seeing in the stock price because of this. I don't think anyone on the street really was factoring in that Bhushan will be taken away from JSW Steel because they've gone ahead and, they've turned it around as well. But for the time being, this is positive for JSW Steel. If in case, the asset was to be taken away from them, then it would be a big issue because they had spent money to turn it around. They had earned some money on this asset as well. So how would they U-turn the entire process? So that was the big question. For the time being, it appears logic has prevailed and things have gone in JSW Steel's favor. Ashmit joins us on the phone line to help us out with with the action. Well, I think we're getting a reaction. For the time being, that explains why the stock has moved to the high point of the day as we speak. So good news coming in for JSW Steel. Remember earlier the problem was that the point was that JSW Steel may have to go ahead and liquidate, that the Bhushan asset that they'd taken over a few years ago may have to go for liquidation, which would have made things very, very messy from every perspective. the money that was invested of around 20,000 crores, the profitability that was earned on this particular asset as it turned around, and how would you redistribute it and how would you re-auction this particular asset? So all of that, seems to have cleared out for the time being because the Supreme Court has overturned its own judgment that was earlier. I think it was earlier in 2025 itself. And at that point of time, JSW Steel had pulled back, big time on that particular day. And after that, we've seen a bit of recovery. To be fair, I think the stock price is actually more than 10% higher than at the time of the Supreme Court's last verdict itself. So explains why the stock is holding well in the green. We'll try to get in Ashmit, or maybe we'll try to get in a couple of reactions. But Sensex prevailed, as I said, and it's moved in. We have Ashmit, I think, who's joining us on the phone line.
No, he's not.
We'll get him in just a bit.
But nonetheless, this looks like it's positive news coming for JSW
absolutely.
Steel.
So, basically, the case was such as JSW Steel went ahead. They got Bhushan Power and Steel via the the bidding process. They took the asset for around 20,000 crores. They turned the asset around, and everything was going according to plan.
Yeah.
The problem was suddenly there was an appeal, and there was an appeal to go ahead and liquidate this asset.
Yeah.
And at that point of time, the Supreme Court had suggested maybe that's something that could be taken on board. But now, that very same judgment has been U-turned, and it's cleared the way for JSW Steel's resolution plan for BPSL, that is Bhushan Power and Steel. We have Mr. Ranina, the senior advocate, Supreme Court, who joins us on the show. Hi, Mr. Ranina. It appears better sense has prevailed, and this judgment is in favor of JSW Steel. How do you read it?
Well, it's a very good development.
Yeah.
Obviously, they realized that to dispose of the assets would create a lot of problems and a lot of things would have to be overturned. So I think the Supreme Court has understood the problems and therefore they have now given them the permission to go ahead with the merger and go ahead and continue with what they are doing in the past.
Right. So it's a step in the right direction. And, Mr. Ranina, the other problem was it wasn't just this case that would be in question. If the Supreme Court had actually gone ahead with the liquidation, there were so many other cases and the entire process would have been questioned. So I think for, all the other cases as well, it's actually a positive development. Your comment on this?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a very good judgment. It is a landmark judgment because it sets the tone for all future such issues. And therefore, once the Supreme Court has allowed the merger to take place, to ask for liquidation, because liquidation is a very serious problem. Apart from selling off the assets, so many thousands of employees would be, without the jobs, and also banks may suffer. So the best is to merge. In fact, that is the whole objective of the IBC Court, to save a company, to save the institutions, financials, and to protect the interests of the employees.
Absolutely, Mr. Ranina. And just coming back to you, for the time being...
we do have another reaction. We have Dushyant Dave, who's the former president, Supreme Court Bar Association, joining in as well. Mr. Dave, what is your reading in terms of this particular ruling by the Supreme Court? As Mr. Ranina said, it sets a precedent for other cases as well.
I agree with Mr. Ranina wholeheartedly. I think Supreme Court made a grave error in passing the judgment in the first instance, Justice Belatri with his bench, and set at naught the liquidation process which had already been implemented for almost 3 years. So I think that was really a very serious error on the part of the Supreme Court. And I would say that, I think the Chief Justice has done well to, recall and review and set aside that judgment. Because ultimately, we all know that the insolvency process in India is otherwise slow and is not hugely successful as it was expected to be. And a judgment like the one which Justice Bela Trivedi authored would have really set at naught the entire process, backward. So I think it's very important that we should expedite these processes as much as possible, because then only we can get the real value of the assets which are under challenge, under stress. And we can continue to retain the employment of thousands of workers. We can continue to increase the production, and the banks and other creditors, including sometimes, the non-statutory and unsecured creditors perhaps might benefit. So I think overall, I would say this judgment is a welcome judgment, and it really sets, as Mr. Ranina said, a tone in the right direction.
So it's done and dusted now, right, Mr. Dave? It's gone in JSW Steel's favor and no further questions on this asset. Would that be the correct understanding?
Yes, absolutely correct. I don't think there can be any further question about this because ultimately, it's not just a question of, JSPL. It's a question of the banks, and these are public sector banks. And we are talking about thousands of crores of rupees of banks.
Correct.
So, employment is very important. Ultimately, you must realize one thing, that today there is large-scale unemployment in the country, and every job matters. And Supreme Court should be, conscious of that. So I think in a way, this is really a great reminder to us.
Appreciate you joining in, Mr. Dave, and giving us that quick comment. But before we let you go, this spells good times, not just for this particular case, but for the other cases that were pending as well, and a couple of cases that were resolved as well. It's actually a thumbs up for the entire resolution process, isn't it?
Well, the facts of this case are very peculiar. But I would definitely say that, I have not had a chance to read the judgment as yet, but I would definitely say, and I would hope that Supreme Court has really expressed opinion about the, whole law, because this law is not being properly implemented. We know that, NCLT is functioning very dissatisfactorily across the country.
Yes.
NCLT is not able to correct those errors. We know there is large-scale inefficiency and fair amount of corruption in the process. Which is hurting the country.
Okay.
Which is hurting, the banks. It is hurting public interest. It is hurting, purpose. You look at Europe and America, the liquidation processes are so quick and so successful. That's what we have to do.
Okay, that point is taken, Mr. Dave. We do have Ashmit joining in to give us more of a brief in terms of what took place in this particular proceeding. Ashmit, go ahead.
Well, two very important takeaways. The first is May 2nd is when the Supreme Court had given the original judgment where it had scrapped the JSW Steel resolution plan altogether. The reasons for doing so, the Supreme Court had said delays and procedural violations. These are two aspects that had been flagged. It is in review of that JSW as well as lenders had moved. Today, the judgment coming in their favor, the Supreme Court overturning its own judgment, upholding earlier NCLAT verdict and saying that this is a plan that needs to go through, that this not allowing this plan would be disastrous. It would be setting the clock back as far as the IBC regime is concerned. And importantly, there are key findings that come in favor of JSW Steel. Number one, the court says that as far as delays are concerned, it is not on account of either the COC or the JSW Steel. It happened on account of ED's investigations, ED's PMLA investigations into the matter, that neither the blame can't be put on either the COC or the JSW Steel. Further, the Supreme Court goes on to say that as far as even these delays are concerned, there were consistent efforts being made by both the lenders, the banks, as well as by JSW Steel to ensure that somehow they can be overcome. There is expeditious implementation. So that's on account as far as delay is concerned. On the issue of Bhushan Power and Steel, Supreme Court makes a very pointed observation that it started off as a loss-making entity. Now, there are thousands of crores that have been pumped in by JSW Steel. The company has turned around. It is now profitable in nature. So in spirit, JSW Steel, through its participation, has ensured that there is a turnaround that takes place as far as Bhushan Power and Steel, which is the basic aspiration, which is the basic intent behind the IBC. So with these findings, the Supreme Court overturning its own judgment, the Supreme Court ruling in favor of the JSW Steel resolution plan, the 19,700 crore rupee resolution plan. And having said that, the second aspect is equally important. In the course of the review proceedings, lenders had asked for additional dues of 6,100 crores. They had cited EBITDA during the insolvency period, saying that these are profits, that the lenders should be given these profits, 6,100 crore rupees. That argument has also been squarely rejected, saying that there is no mention of EBITDA going to the lenders as a part of the resolution plan or as a part of the RFRP, and therefore that argument also deserves to be rejected. So a huge win for JSW Steel. Number one, their resolution plan now stands restored, and number two, no additional dues of 6,100 crore rupees that they need to now cough up towards the lenders.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, Ashmit, for joining in and giving us a quick update. And you'll be wondering why JSW Steel is not running away, because this is a sentimental positive. No one was factoring in. that the asset would actually be taken away from them, because it would be an absolute mess. They'd put in closer to 20,000 crores. They'd put in additional money after that as well to get the asset running. And how would you redistribute the EBITDA that they have garnered over the years after turning around the asset? So it's a positive nonetheless. It removes the uncertainty. But in that sense, no one was factoring in that this asset will actually be taken away. I was just looking at old notes when, in fact, this verdict did come out. The stock had cracked close to around 6% on that day. It had breached the 1,000 rupee mark odd. So from that day, in fact, the stock is actually up more than 15% from the day the verdict went against them. So maybe part of the good news already in the price. So we wrap up on this edition of Chartbusters. Stay with us. The team of Trading Hour comes up next.